The power of shift. I bet you don't even know what the power of shift is like. We're gonna get into it right now after I roll this intro. Stay tuned. Welcome back, Internet. Robert Teegarden here again with another video. Today we're talking about the power of shift. Now, what am I talking about? I'll tell you in just 2 seconds. If you haven't already, I would really love it if you would join this Teegarden community we've got going on. It's ever growing. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for post notifications. I put up videos every week on filmmaking and the business of being a creative, and I would love it if you would join us if you like what you're seeing here. Now, today I'm talking about shift, like the key, shift, like capital shift, that type of thing. This is why in Adobe, shift is the key that kind of locks everything into a straight, even line and keeps everything within particular parameters. Now, you guys know that I'm a sucker for good keyboard shortcuts, and here we are again explaining different types of keyboard shortcuts that I think are going to save you a bunch of time and add a ton of value. Now, when I'm talking about shift, this one's pretty easy to understand. I'm gonna give you 3 different ways that shift has actually contributed to my speed and efficiency here inside Premiere Pro. Let's get down to business. I'll show you what I'm talking about inside the computer. Now, a lot of times if I wanna duplicate a particular layer, I'll have to hold down Alt and just drag it up. Now, what could potentially happen is that I accidentally shift this thing across my timeline, which is not something that I want to do. I just want to duplicate and put it right on top. Whoops-a-daisies. So now what I want to do is I'm going to be able to hit Alt and click Shift, and it'll drag it to the exact same position right above where I'm at. There's no way for it to be locked. I'm doing it. I'm going to hit click and then go Shift, and I can't drag it across my timeline up and down, but I can drag it up. It'll make an exact replica and move it directly above. Now, that's the first power of shift that we're seeing. It locks things into a particular parameter so that they can't move. Saves me a bunch of time so I don't have to go back and make sure that it's a shuffle edit or snapped to a particular grid. Here's number 2. So now the second thing where shift is concerned that I found to be super helpful is in using keyframes. So a few videos ago, I started to talk about how I can fade videos or fade my video clips into black. And one of the ways I showed you guys was by adding keyframes. So I'm gonna add 2 keyframes here. And what I'm gonna show you is that, let's say I needed to change the position of this keyframe, drag it around this way from left to right, so I could change the duration of this particular effect that I'm adding a keyframe towards. But you can see as I drag it left to right, it's also changing the opacity value. The same thing would happen if I was changing the volume or the pan difference right here in an audio region. Well, what if I just want to move it, but I don't want to change the value? If I hit Shift, click, and then I drag it, if I click on this, hit Shift, and then I drag it, I can drag it left or right, but I can't go up or down. I can drag it left or right, but I can't go up or down. So that's number 2. Now, number 3 is very similar to number 2. I'm gonna use it still on a keyframe, but I'm gonna show you a different way that I'm using shift in my keyframes. Now, the third way I can use shift is by locking it to go up or down. So I can change the value without changing the position of that actual keyframe. So where it comes in terms of my timeline. Now, the way that I would do this one is actually the opposite of how I would move it left or right. I would hit Shift first, click on the keyframe, and then I'd be able to move it up or down without it moving it left or right. Now, if I get really aggressive, I can start to break it out of the position that it's in, but then things start getting really wonky. So if I'm gentle in terms of my positioning, I can move it up or down without having it move left or right. So I can move it up or down without having it move left or right. And shift is allowing me to lock that thing into position so that it's moving in the direction that I want it to, but it's not going in the other parameters, which is super helpful. The more time in milliseconds that I can shave off of quick little tidbits like this, the faster I am in aggregate. I keep saying this all of the time. And so now you guys have heard it for, I don't know, fucking the millionth time that I put this thing on here too. So that is the power of shift. 3 different ways that I'm using shift to lock my edits, to lock my adjustments into the exact same position that I want them to. Guys, girls, whoever's watching, if you like this video, like the damn video. If you figure that someone else might enjoy this, please consider sharing it with them. We're trying to grow this community and add as much value as possible. Like I said in the beginning, if you like this thing and you want to see more of it, I'm uploading every single week filmmaking tips and the business of being a creative. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for post notifications, and tune in next week to see whatever I concoct and put up on this YouTube thing. Again, Robert Teegarden, thanks for tuning in, guys. Really a pleasure hanging out with you, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.